everybody, I am Teodora Tompea and I'm happy to be your moderator today for this event of Netherlands Chamber of Commerce. We will talk today about agriculture, sustainability in agriculture from idea to success, recites on how to smartly feed a growing population. When we talk about geopolitical, climate and environmental challenges. So I would like to present you my speakers and my guests. I will start from here. Sophie Nev, agricultural counselor and also quality of food for Romania, Bulgaria and Moldova. Peter de Boer, the Agrar Group, strategic corporate financial manager and investor relations manager. Also, I would like to say hello to Marius Gavrea, manager specialized transactions business banking from ING Bank, and Emanuel Pârvulescu, ESG health sustainability lead from Mega Image. Hello everybody, thank you so much for being here. And first of all, I would like to start with Peter, because your group is one of the most important milk producers in Europe, and how it is to be like this, to be one of the most important one from Europe, and what is the difference between you and other competition?
Yeah, thank you very much first of all for the invitation. I think it's good to start to take one step back and to see from where it started. The NRCC was introduced in 2008 in Romania with the goal to become the largest milk producer in Europe. We are almost there, but I will get there in a minute. We started that with 20 hectares, and mainly the reason is that the company is founded by my father. We have still 74% of the shares of our company, and the main idea was why is Romania an interesting market to invest and to produce. Mainly the reason is more than 50% of the raw milk in Romania is imported, mainly from Hungary and Poland. Also, if you look to final products, it's almost 60%. Also, even this year, if we look to the first quarter, the imports again increased. So if we talk about sustainability and local food production, etc., we saw a huge opportunity in Romania, not only in Romania, in general in Eastern Europe. We believe that Eastern Europe has a huge potential to become again, what was also in the past, the main food supplier for the EU. How we became, we first bought one farm from Alba Lact, our Lacto Agrar farm. It was our first farm, and currently there was a farm of a few hundred cows, and currently we have 14,000 animals. Now probably you would think like that must be really intensive, etc. But compared to the Netherlands, and they will maybe not be thankful that I mentioned this, but in the Netherlands approx the intensity per hectare is 1.8 cow per hectare. We have 0.8 cow per hectare. We did in 2022 we became listed on the Bucharest Stock Exchange, the secondary market, and through that we did an IPO of 5 million euros. There we bought one farm, and then later we partnered up with ING for financing to acquire the Apold farm, and through those horizontal acquisitions we became the largest milk producer in Romania. Currently we produce almost 200,000 liters per day, and we have a strategy by the end of 2027 that we will produce 300,000 liters per day, which means at the end of 2028 we will produce over 100 million liters annual basis, and that pushes us in the leading position in the EU. Of course, it comes also with responsibilities and checks and balances, etc. We have at the moment 300 employees in Romania. In 2 years it will be 400. And that comes with, as I said already, we have now currently 14,000 animals, and we will increase it further to 20,000 animals with our newest farm. We just start to construct. This is Straja farm for 5,000 animals. And it comes partially operational this year, 600 cows, and by the end of the year 900 cows. So that are the main thing. Next to that we work also 7,000 hectares plus 3,000 hectares outside of the group. And sustainability is extremely important. For that we perform circular agriculture.
And also, how are the investors perceiving you in terms of ESG policies or strategy?
Yes, as I said, it comes a list to getting listed on the stock exchange, and also taking in mind that we, of course, want to upgrade in the coming years to the main market of the Bucharest Stock Exchange. You need to fulfill also ESG. If you want to have pension funds invested in you or institutional investors, these days they only invest in companies who report on ESG. So we started last year, we published our first ESG report, and in the coming weeks, in June, we will publish our second ESG report. And of course, in the beginning as an organization, this feels like extra bureaucracy and mainly extra work just to satisfy the investors. But what we really learned, and I think also the management team of Agrar really appreciate it. We do a lot of workshops throughout the year, and it really pushes us to think in a different way. And we also see cost benefits of this. And of course, we give a better overview for investors as well, also for our social responsibility. We invest heavily in local communities. Since the Agrar arrived in Romania, we did investments of over 100 million euros so far. So we invest heavily in the country itself. We contribute to the food supply of Romania, produced in the local communities. We also sell it on the Romanian market. We are well known for our high quality. That's the reason we are able to negotiate. Our milk price is not connected to the Romanian milk price. Our milk price is connected to the Western European average, and we get a bonus for the vet and protein. Because of the large quantities and the constant quality that we deliver, but we also invest. We are the second largest contributor to Maria Beatrice. That is a hospital for children with a disability. It's the only hospital in Romania, and we are their longest partner. And the second largest contributor, only Mercedes, not what you can imagine. We are growing, let's say, but we are not Mercedes yet, but maybe we will be one day. But secondly, we are a big contributor to that, and I always advocate that to look on the internet and find them. They do really great work. They will just now open their second hospital also in Alba County, and from all of Romania and even from other countries, kids are helped, and they do really a great job, and we are happy that we can be part of their journey.
It's about changing mentalities.
Yes.
For Mega Image, when we talk about sustainability, what does it mean for you?
Sustainability is a broad topic. It can be seen from various angles, but what is the most important thing is to be close to our communities, because offering sustainable products, like for example during the season, during the peak season, during the summer and also the autumn, to offer products from local suppliers. Also we need to take care of, for example, the DRS, this new deposit return system, in which all of our clients can bring their packaging and their bottles in order to return it. Sustainability means that we need to offer to our clients and also to our communities projects which can make them, let's say, better from an environmental perspective. Also, we are working with them in order to reduce the use of oils, cooking oils, to reduce their CO2 footprint, and also to combat together with them food waste, because food waste in Romania is a major topic. Everybody is buying probably a little bit more than it is necessary, and a lot of products are thrown away.
And you have your own, I think that Gustul Românești is your own product. It also means sustainability when you say about producers, Romanian producers and local producers.
Gustul Românești is a flagship project of Mega Image. We are connected with local farmers, more than 300 local farmers, which are helped each day by specialized...
And not only farmers.
And not only farmers. Yes. We are talking about people which are growing veggies, fruits and so on. We have specialized agronomes which are going to each farm and show them how to grow the products in a more sustainable way.
You help them, yes.
We help them with technical solutions, and also with the flow in which to reduce or even eliminate products which can be harmful, like chemicals, you know. And we can use different types of small animals like bugs, bees, and so on, which can pollinize the plants in order not to use chemicals.
Way.
Yeah, exact. Old school. Yeah.
For ING, Marius, what are the goals when we talk about a bank? You know, when we say a bank and we want to find out what means a sustainable bank, because ING, I know that ING, it is a sustainable bank.
Yes, it is. Of course, for the bank, the first goal is to finance the sustainable businesses. But ING, it is already known as one of the most important players at global level. Is known as one of the most important players that finance sustainable businesses, and this is in our strategy, and we have a lot of objective and a lot of initiative. Today I would like to resume my discussion only to the business banking business line department, which deals with the Romanian entrepreneur, which means companies with the turnover less than 100,000 euro, because otherwise we can have a discussion of 2 or 3 hours about all the initiative. But in business banking, we noticed that we can have a great impact in 3 directions. First of all, to ensure the financial health of our customers, of our farmers, in order to continue their activity, in order to develop their activity, and in order to make a difference and go to sustainable practices. Second, is the financing, is to help by financing and advising our entrepreneur to make the transition to sustainable businesses. And third is to steer our portfolio, our loan portfolio, to net zero until 2050 or sooner if it is possible. And I would like to detail a little bit each of these pillars. For financial health, we have developed an instrument, a benchmarking tool, where our customer could use it to assess where they are in terms of financial health. The design is like the medical analysis. We choose some representative indicators for their sector. This benchmarking tool is customized for each sector. For agriculture, we started with agriculture because we think that is important to have this sector under our attention. And the customer that use this tool could compare their financial results with peers or with the national average in that sector. And in this way, they could take some measure in order to improve activity or in order to develop their activity. For the second pillar that I mentioned, financing green action, green asset or sustainable businesses, we have already, only in 2023, we financed more than 31 million euro. It is not a big, it's not a big amount. Looks that is not a big amount, but for entrepreneur, I mention again, for entrepreneur, it is an important start, an important amount. And what I think that is a little bit more important is that the workshop and the events that we had over the last 2 years with the customer. I think that we discussed about sustainability with more than 500, maybe 600 entrepreneurs from 8 important cities of Romania. And during this event, we talk with them about sustainability. We try to make them to understand why it's important. Sometimes we need to explain what means for their business sustainability, because they heard about ESG, about sustainability. It is not very clear in their mind what sustainability means, and it's very important to explain this concept. And the third one, third one is to steer our portfolio to net zero. Here, it is important to mention that we have an inclusive approach, meaning that okay, it is very simple to say, tomorrow, Dene Agrar, you are very polluting. You don't want to find.
You could have used another example.
It is not.
But you're not. You're not.
This is not our approach. Our approach is it is inclusive, which means that we are working with our clients, and we are try to find what are the solution to reduce their footprint, CO2. Yes. And we choose again some sector, because we need to go in small steps. It is not. It is difficult to have a broad approach, because it is very complicated. And we choose 2 sectors, and we talk with clients, and we find together solution to decarbonize their businesses.
Sophie,
Yes.
It's important to understand, because they explain a little bit how it is for their businesses or for their companies. But let's say how it is for what is the vision or the policy or the strategy of the Dutch government when we talk about agriculture, or when we talk about sustainability.
Yes. Thank you also very much for inviting me and being here. Well, the Dutch policy fits into, of course, the international and European frameworks that are existing. We contribute to the SDG goals, and there's a lot of EU agricultural and environmental legislation with time frames, and so our national policy fits, of course, into that. In the Netherlands, when it comes to sustainable agriculture, there are, I think, mainly 2 transitions taking place. One is the transition of the rural areas, and the other one is the transition towards sustainable food systems and food security. When it comes down to the transition of the rural areas, our policy is that we have an integrated regional approach. The provinces are in the lead to make plans to meet the goals of climate, water, soil, but also CO2 sequestration. So that's one part that's taking place, and there's put money to that from the government. When it comes to the transition on sustainable food systems, the Dutch government supports the agro sector to make the change and get stronger out of this. And this is very much easily said, of course, but we really believe that it's a whole chain approach. So every player in the chain has a responsibility in making the chain and the food production more sustainable. A level playing field is very important in this, also in Europe, of course. There has been a lot of discussion on the CAP. The protests of farmers started in the Netherlands. Well, now you see in Brussels that there are measures being taken to make the administrative burden a little, hopefully less, and to make the policy more flexible. And that's also where the Dutch government is pushing towards. And of course it's very much important to find a balance with the nature and the environmental pressure that's quite high as it is, and you already explained the Netherlands is a small country, so we meet very easily the limits of what the environment could take. And a viable income for the farmer is one of the main topics, and that's also why it's so important to strengthen the position of the farmer in the chain and have throughout the chain all the responsibility to take to make the food system more sustainable. we have various priorities. I mentioned already some, but the Dutch government at the European level, apart from sustainable food systems and food security, pushes very much on animal welfare and animal health, so to prevent and protect from zoonoses. Healthy air, soil and water are very important, not only as preconditions for healthy food and for sustainable food, but also because they are the basis to produce healthy products. And they're also a condition to meet the goals on climate, water and biodiversity, for example. And that brings me also to the last priority, and that's to strengthen the biodiversity and nature conservation and restoration. In the Netherlands we promote very much nature-inclusive farming, so to try and find a balance at the farm with more environmental practices. And it also contributes to healthier soils and having carbon sequestration, for example. So, well, this is more like I already mentioned, we try to find an integrated approach to meet all the goals we have at an environmental level, but also we are supporting the farmer in finding a viable income to work towards this food security. And so that's more, I think, in general our approach. And the role we take is setting clear goals. We try to direct the farmers towards the developments we would like to see, and we do that with instruments, carrots and sticks. And the most important investment we make now is on a voluntary scheme. It's on the pig farms, but it's also on the dairy farms, you will know. And it's very much the farmer itself that has to decide upon its own future. So it is about extensivating, it is about proving that you will work with new technologies and innovations to reduce the pressure on environment. And otherwise it's about moving or stopping your business. It sounds quite hard, but there's put money to it, so it's voluntary. But as a farmer you have choices to also move in this direction of sustainability.
Marius, I come back to you because it's important to understand what are the main actions. I mean, how can you push the companies to make this transition to sustainability or to green transition, make it easier? Well, from your perspective, of course.
Yes, from a bank perspective, but not only from a bank perspective. I think that the changes in our lives or in our businesses usually it's happened because some pressure are on us. And I think that for farmers, one of the most important pressure is physical risk. We know that we are all aware that drought is more severe in Romania than other years than in the past. But Romanian farmers should think not only at the what's happened here, but also what happened at the global level, because we are not disconnected. For example, if we have bad weather in Brazil or Argentina, then the price of soybean could increase a lot, and we have a problem with the price for milk, because soybean is important in the feed of animals. Yeah. So the physical risk. Sometime entrepreneur and farmer told us that okay, but we are in a safe country from this point of view. They need to understand that we are not disconnected from the
globally speaking,
globally environment and geopolitical events that happen right now. Another important causes, I think, that is legislation. Farmer are one of the most impacted category sector. Agriculture is one of the most impacted sector by legislation. even that farm to fork is not applied in the full, there are some initiative. For example, the farmer should have to leave 5%, I think, of the soil to not cultivate about 5% of the soil in order to recover the soil and in order to obtain subsidies for their activity. And of course, the farm to fork, where they have to reduce the pesticide and fertilizer by 30% in the future, will be applied. Will be applied in the future, and they have to be prepared. And I think that one of the most important, actually there are another two that I think that are important. New preference of the clients. Many clients, let's say final clients, started to prefer ecological product, ecological food, but even there are not ecological food, the clients started to read the label. They want to have
more control.
A track. Mm-hmm. They want to see the track of that product, how it was produced, that product. And that's important to see if it is a sustainable product or not, or what they use for that product. And last but not least, I think that the pressure from the supply chain. As ING, many other multinational companies have sustainability in their strategy. And I think that this company, in order to be sustainable, their partner should be sustainable also. And they will ask farmer, for example, maybe you have some example, they will ask farmer to introduce sustainable practices in their activity. Yeah, I have I am optimistic that they, okay.
I'm happy to hear that, and because you said about Mega Image, Emilian, maybe can you help us with more specific actions, or how do you specifically contribute to circular economy, Mega Image? How does it work for you, circular economy?
I will give you an example regarding the circular economy.
You said also two of them, about energy and about oil, I think.
Yeah, but I will give you an example regarding the circular economy. The largest project in Romania after the communist is the DRS system, the deposit return system, in which everybody is paying really 0.5 lei for each type of bottle, which can be glass, PET or can. And now Mega Image has the largest RVM network in Romania. More than 800 stores are equipped with this type of machines. What we are doing? We are offering the clients a solution in which they can return their products, meaning the bottles, through the stores in order to contribute through this circular economy. And I will give you, let's say, an overview of the project. A water producer is selling the bottles to us, and normally now the client, they are picking up the products from our shelves, and usually no one knows what the client is going to do with the PET bottles. Probably they are going to throw it away. In some cases they have some bags and they ask to God to be recycled. But now with this system we have like a closed loop in which all of these materials and the packaging, it is collected and sent back to recycle in our stores. From our stores it is sent to cross docks, and after that directly to the recycles. And what is happening? The producers, the people which are selling water, beer, wines and so on, they are picking up this type of recycled packaging and use it to create new bottles, which is, in practice, it is the largest circular economy project which has been performed in Romania, and I'm honestly super proud, not just proud, because Mega Image has the largest network of RVM in our stores, which in practice is offering to our clients one of the best solutions on the market.
It is very important. Peter, maybe the same, but can you please elaborate how sustainable practices, for example, integrate in your group's operations? How does it work for you?
Sustainability is really one of our key pillars, not just for the outside or for the stock exchange itself, but just as is necessary. If you look to the last 2 years, we were also affected by the drought, etc., and we couldn't compete our production costs with the market price. So this year, also in January, February, we bought significant food from the market to maintain our profit margin. But of course, it's hard because in the beginning of the year, you need to decide if you're going to seed or not, and the prices for the crops you only know in September or October. What we do is we use no-till technology. That's really good for the biodiversity. Anyway, we have a holistic approach. As I said, we perform circular agriculture, which means we produce our own food, and with the manure from our animals, we fertilize our soil. We now did a huge investment of approximately €1.5 million in a first compost plant. That means there we will separate ammonia in a water channel to a special lagoon and the manure, and that we can bring to fields further away. Now we collect our manure in open lagoons, and you collect also a lot of water, which means a lot of transportation costs, a lot of diesel by the end of the day. Now when we start to compost our manure, we can also bring it to fields further away, and we can reduce the usage of chemical fertilizer. Our goal is you cannot completely without chemical fertilizer, but almost to come to zero. That really helped us when Russia started his aggression against the Ukraine. That year we decided not to barely use any chemical fertilizer and to use our own manure, and with that we could maintain our profit margin. But you need to think strategically or to take these decisions in advance. But of course the strange thing is, and I think there we could work on, the lobby of the chemical fertilizer is way stronger, because there is not any argument, good argument, or sustainable argument to find to justify a chemical fertilizer. Yes, it's way more polluting, and the strange thing is, as a farmer you are limited to bring out your manure for several months. You can only bring out your manure for several months per year on the fields, and while the period for chemical fertilizer is longer, so it's
much more easier.
Yeah, and you have more months where you can, and sometimes you are forced by that to use chemical fertilizer if you want to have the right yield for your crops, but somehow, there can be only one reason, that there is a lobby in Brussels, let's say, who prevents this. So that is, we do that. We now would like to invest in a biogas plant to produce biofuel, bio-LNG. With that we could fuel over 7,000 trucks on an annual basis, and we will reduce our emissions with 90%. So that would mean from the farm, first it goes to the bio plant, there we reduce with 90%. Then we will also compost and compost our manure, which means intergroup cost reduction, transport reductions, because we don't transport the water, the chemical fertilizer is more expensive than the production of our own manure, and it means a new business line for the Agrar, which we have high expectations of. We will sell it to other farmers in Romania in big bags, but we will also have a packaging machine for 5, 10 and 20 liters, so for B2C. So there we deliver already a big part of our contribution. Next to sustainability, especially on large farms, they have always the image of being really polluting. But we have also a reality that our world population is growing. And of course, the romantic idea to have everywhere 10 or 20 cows, even from a sustainable perspective. Because to give you an example, we have on our farms 24/7 vets. Even if we look to the Netherlands, where I think the average farm has 100 or 150 animals, no one has. Of course, you cannot afford to have a full-time vets on your food. So if you think of animal welfare, we have cameras everywhere, and we have a strict policy. If an employee one time hits an animal, you are fired. We don't give you a warning or whatsoever. Everyone knows this. So that also never happens. We can invest in technology, in robotization, in vaccinations. Also, we leave our cows where possible outside. Also, our young stock, we have hundreds of hectares where we have cows outside. And it's not easy because they need to be guarded.
Yes, of course.
Because in the beginning we had some attacks with bears or wolves, but now we have also sometimes people know the value of an animal on of a cow, let's say. So we have also sometimes different creatures, let's say. But it's problematic. We had lately 15 cows, which means it's 30,000 euros. So it goes quite fast on that perspective. So as I said, we built a compost plant. We will invest. I think we will announce in September or October, even this year for the biogas plant. Currently we are already acquiring the land for it, and we are now starting the permitting process. We will probably work with a billion companies in the oil and gas industry. We have discussion with several here from Romania, but also some international companies. We see a huge interest in that. The problem is at the moment in Romania, now you get subvention to build biogas stations for electricity. Now, in the West it is already proven that this is not sustainable and not cost effective. So we hope that also the Romanian government will decide to subsidize biogas plants to produce biofuel, because we cannot go completely without gas. It's everyone's wish. True. And but in the maritime sector, if you think of the aviation sector, also in the transportation sector, or it could be even as a transition fuel. And we can offer this large plant, and we can fuel a lot of companies. Of course, in an idle situation, we would be able to also inject it into the grid. So far, that is in Romania not possible. And of course, we urge, and also we ask, of course, the support from our embassy to lobby for this, because that is again sustainable. Because of course, the disadvantage from bio LNG is that here is not a market for it, so you need to export it. So you have always some pollution. In this case, you probably need to export this to Germany. But we will see a high increase there, because from 2030 in Germany, transportation companies are forced to mix 10% biofuel with their normal fuel, and that will further increase. And of course, with the Russian aggression, we see that now LNG is imported from the US, Qatar, Dubai, still also from Russia. That is also somehow, we say we don't buy any gas, but LNG somehow is still allowed. But don't want to be too critical, but no, it's quite hypocritical from that perspective. But so on that part, farmers can really contribute to it. Of course, the disadvantage in the past from biogas was that it was also mixed with feedstock, and that we don't do. So when you brew it only for manure, and we could even think of to mix it with chicken manure and other farms, the animal sector or the food sector can really contribute. First, it reduces their emissions with 90%, and next to that, it contributes for biofuel. Next to that, we work with sexed sperm or semen. So with that, you limit the chance, of course, of we mainly have female calves. So that again helps for sustainability issues. So we do a lot of things to reduce. We monitor everything on our tractors and on our equipment. Everything is monitored. Our employees get a bonus if they keep on the speed limits and these kind of things. And it's again a more constant flow of driving a tractor, etc. With that we reduce fuel expenses. And as I said, one thing I would like to add on larger farms, it is important, for example, if you look to the yields for Romanian cows. Romania has the lowest yield per cow in all of Europe. It has on average, a Romanian cow gives 7 to 8 liters. Our give on average 30 liters, depends on in which part of the cycle they are. If you think of, I will not name, there is let's say a processor in Romania. In 2 years we will produce the same. The processor currently process approximately 300,000 liters per day. We will, in 2 years, we will produce the same number of liters, but the processor for that needs to go to 1,100 farmers to collect that milk. We will produce it with 4 farms. So if you talk about sustainability and the transportation costs, and the truck needs to go everywhere, the fats need to go everywhere, the food delivery needs to go to all those farms. So
who is much more sustainable? Yes.
Yes, you could really argue if that is really the case. If it is okay to maybe a bit more polluting in one area than to have dozens of areas. And of course, in Romania, the traffic is not in Bucharest is different, but the rest of the country is relatively quiet. Yes. If you think of the Netherlands, let's say it's a different story. So we are really committed to it, and it is the future. For that, we invest also in solar. All our roofs get solar. We will do an investment on 50 hectares. In solar as well. So I don't know if we missed the last interest payment last time.
Let's discuss about this after.
It's very interesting. No,
I'm joking. No, we are really partners, and to give ING one compliment, it was really hard to find financing, especially on larger projects in agriculture in Romania.
Because it's hard to understand most of the time.
Yes. It is hard to understand. And
in Romania, in Romania.
ING financed us so far over 20 million euros. So that is a really successful partnership, and I think we cooperate really well together. But of course, but again, we need to control pollution, but also we need to feed the world. So that is you need to take account. For that, you need also some larger scale farms, but it is a mix.
And because you said about ING, Marius, one more question. Which type of activities do you consider from a bank perspective can, be important when we talk about climate change? For example, what companies can do, what we can do, individual speaking?
I understand. Peter already mentioned a lot.
He said everything.
Yes.
It's wow. Yes, congratulations. It's very important.
This is one of the most integrated farms that I know here in Romania. I visit.
I'm sure.
I think that annually I visit more than 30 farms in Romania, and the Agrar is one of the most integrated farm, and they also, I'm very happy to see they also apply a lot of practice, sustainable practices. What Peter mentioned before, I think that we can group in a which is so-called regenerative agriculture. For crop producer, regenerative agriculture, it is a concept that is not so aggressive with the soil, no so many works in the soil, no till or minimum till for the soil, and we see that this is the future for agriculture. Because in this way we can protect both the nature, the biodiversity, and also it is scientifically studied that through the regenerative agriculture can capture CO2 in the soil. And in this way we have from the problem, agriculture becomes the solution. Of course, other activities are ecological products, but here we have to be a little bit careful, because if the yields are decreasing, it's not a solution, because the farmer has role to assure the security, the food security of the entire population. And in this world where population is increasing, we cannot decrease the yields. Other measure, what I think that one of the best is what Peter also mentioned, to transform the manure and the waste in the soil in biogas. Of course, they are expensive, but we are trying to find solution in this direction, and because here it is a very, very important topic.
But Peter, it's not difficult to minimize the carbon footprint associated with dairy production. What are the challenges for you?
Of course, first of all, we have a high fluctuation in milk prices. If you compare Q1 2023 to Q4, we had a difference in milk price of 37%. And we had higher production costs. At this moment, anyway, we don't have the philosophy, of course, from a sustainability point of view, you want to have enough hectares so to be not so intensive. As I said, we have an intensity of 0.8 cow per hectare, which is from this perspective quite okay. But of course the challenge is those fluctuations in milk price is hard to predict. Then we had a huge increase as well on the interest prices.
We will reduce this in order to invest in sustainability.
Not enough yet, but okay.
I will talk with you. And I will prepare a product.
And so that is hard, and especially the predictably. Also on the subvention part, to have, if we talk European-wise, we should have a fair level playing field. In Romania, you get subvention per animal and per liter of milk produced. So far, at the last year, the reference date for this was 2013.
Yes.
Now you can imagine in 2013 we were extremely small, but you had a situation up to last year that a farmer in 2013 in Romania had 500 cows, as an example, and maybe last year 3, but still got a subvention for the 500 cows. Now that has a huge impact. So far that has costed us millions of euros. And it will now start to have a bigger effect, although the reference date is moved up to 2018. But to give you an image, this year we will not receive for 2,500 animals any subvention. And I think that, on the other hand, shows also our competitive advantage. We had last year a profit margin of 15%. We had an EBITDA margin of almost 35%. So for on an agricultural sector, that are strong parameters. But still, that is a huge challenge. If you compare to Hungary, they are in the same subsidy scheme as Romania, but the government has supports it more, and there they get per liter of milk between 4 or 5 euro cents. That has a huge effect. We cannot Romanian milk, generally speaking, is relatively expensive. Also on the shelf, if you buy here milk in a supermarket, it is generally way more expensive than in Western Europe. Then we have, of course, a climate change, which we need to find out. For now, we look into vertical agriculture. We see it's a new practice in the US. To produce our food for the animals. Currently we do tests for how much protein, and you produce a sort of grass through it. It has a cycle of 7 days. It enters in, it goes around. You have 90% less water usage. And with that, if we could succeed in that, the first research what we have done, we could reduce almost the production of 60% of our hectares, which means no diesel. No investment in machinery. Currently, of course, we need to do the financial analysis. If it is more or less the same, I think we will start to do this, probably to construct maybe a test facility this year. And then you have a constant quality of food, which is better for your cows, for your animals, and you have again a reduction of your output. So I think from that perspective we are really committed, and that is the advantage of being a large farm. A small farmer cannot invest in a compost plant, cannot invest in a biogas plant. We have our own logistics company, we are fully integrated, we have even our own construction company, we build our own farms. So, and of course to train also the future farmers of the country, I think we offer traineeships, internships as well. We have had previous managers in our farm who now have their own farm. So also through that we contribute to the food supply.
For Mega Image, Emilian, what measures has Mega Image implemented to reduce plastic waste in your stores, or also for us, for clients and for your employees?
We had a lot of measures, but being on a agri show, let's say.
True.
Yeah.
True fact.
I will keep it, let's say, more niche with what we are doing with the products like Gustul Românești, but
yes,
also with other farmers which are not producing own brand products. we have until last year, everybody was delivering in cardboard boxes, different types of wood boxes. You know, it was a mix of materials and different types of boxes. But starting with this year, we have reusable plastic boxes, which are going to go round and round, and no waste is going to be produced anymore from a plastic perspective, and also not other materials. So is another example of reducing the waste using the plastic, which in practice, even if we do not like it so much, it's probably one of the best packaging materials that until now we have.
A big change in our lives. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And also is more cost effective, because Peter was talking about the prices on the shelves, for example, for the milk. We can observe that the milk which is bottled in glass is more expensive than the one packed in PET bottles. Yeah. So depending on how do we want to see our sustainable actions regarding the plastics, but also other types of materials, it's important to see that the plastic is a necessary evil, let's say.
And it's also about us, about the clients.
It's also about the client.
About our choices.
Exactly. And it's super important to have a diversity of solutions in order to meet the client demand, but also to have a sustainable approach in order to show to our customers what is or what are the best solutions regarding this type of initiatives. Yeah.
Sophie, what role does the Dutch government take with regards to sustainable agriculture, specific sustainable agriculture?
Yes, I already touched a little bit upon that, I think. But the most important instrument we have now is this voluntary scheme. So the farmers can make their own choice in this sustainable development, whether they would believe in more technology and innovations to invest in and to change their business model towards that, or extensivate more the farms. Circular agriculture is also, of course, one of the transitions we are also stimulating. But there's also a possibility if the farmer chooses to make use of the voluntary scheme to stop or to move the farm to elsewhere in the Netherlands or abroad, where there is more space and there's more possibilities for continuing the farming as they would like. There are various instruments and ways to support the transition. And in the Netherlands we see also a lot of initiatives from the ground where we as government try to be alert and see how we can also put subsidies or money to that. I'm very happy that you mentioned the regenerative farming. That's also and also agroforestry is really a development you see in the Netherlands that is taking place, and it's all also about finding out a good earning model to these new, relatively new ways of farming. And I think it's important to support as government the various ways that agricultural sustainability. I will put it in another way. The various types of farming that you can have that are sustainable or that contribute to sustainability. So it's not only about a big scale, but it could be also on smaller scale. And it's also about diversification, I think, within the sector of what you could add of value as a farmer and to find your own niche. So we try to support all kinds of agricultural practices that are good for sustainability. And maybe I could also add to this, of course, also in Brussels we play a role and try to put on the table the directions which we think of that might be helpful for this sustainable development in agriculture. one of the developments now is that together with some other member states, we make a position paper with measures that could be of help to strengthen the position of farmers in the chain, for example. So we also have to push forward this international agenda and find ways to make the CAP more fit to what's needed to make the change for all kinds of companies. And we put also money, a lot of money, into knowledge and innovations and research from our ministry to the education and the institutions that, of course, could invent new solutions and be of help also to the businesses to support.
And about the challenges for Emilian and Peter. Emilian, first of all, with you, what are the main challenges for you, for Mega Image, when we talk about implementing sustainable policies or strategy?
What we are doing right now, we have a strategy regarding the CO2 emissions, and also we have a net zero scope, one in 2040 and the one in 2050. The one which is connected with scope 1 and 2. The actual CO2 emissions that we are generating, we have a target of net zero for 2040 and another one for 2050 regarding what our suppliers and the products that are on our shelves needs to be CO2 neutral. So what we are seeing now, actions like good practices like Peter was saying before regarding good practices in lowering the CO2 emissions, but also what we are seeing on the market is a little bit of backlash, and a lot of people are not really understanding the harm that it is done by the CO2 emissions. Because what we heard about all of the panel, we see a lot of climate changes, a lot of rain, a lot of drought, a lot
Extreme
of everything, you know. We see sun dust. I saw like 1 month ago from Sahara. We experienced something new. So we are not experiencing only the Russians next door fighting, you know, we are experiencing also something traveling by air, something that normally should not happen. So one of the main challenges that we are seeing is the knowledge of the market regarding the CO2 emissions that everybody is generating. But this is, let's say, not the nice part, you know, but we are keen to do it, and I'm convinced that we are going to manage it, because even if now the people are, let's say, lacking a little bit the knowledge regarding their CO2 footprint, by implementing different policies, and also we heard about ING, which is pushing in all of their let's say investment lines the CO2 principles, and also we heard about Peter regarding the stock exchange. Also most of the companies needs to have a clear ESG path and a clear CO2 agenda. Probably that's why he's also investing in this regard, because also Mega is investing like Peter regarding solar panels. We have all of our warehouses full with solar panels. Also our stores are covered with solar panels, and we are acquiring for now almost 80% of our energy which is consumed in the stores is green energy. So we have good examples and good practices that is not seen only in Mega Image, but we also see this type of actions on our supplier side. But the road in practice is just beginning. If we are looking at a show like this, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, I do not think this type of topic would have been, you know. would have been approached. Yeah.
The same question for you, Peter. The main challenge or the main challenges for implementing?
I think constant changes in legislation. Anyway, the whole should be careful not to make only the farmers or the people who produce food, which is our basic need for our existence, to make them completely responsible for all the output in the world, because it has also to do with consumption patterns, also where the marketing industry, which products are marketed, etc., how we consume our food, and it is clear that we need to change something also in our food pattern, but it needs to be a cooperation. And at the moment, in Romania, this is although we have a lot of legislative changes from back and forth, which makes it quite chaotic, especially for small farmers. Now we have a welfare subsidy. Currently, so far we still don't know how much we will get, what exactly the regulations are, all for some subsidies that are implemented this year for grazing, for some other things, crop rotation. First corn was in it, then corn was excluded in it, but now we decided we needed to see it already before, and now the government changes again. It is that it makes it really hard. In our case, it's a bit different. We have a whole team working on this subject day by day, as again, because now we are a larger company. But for smaller farmers, also the risk of to make a mistake and that you would be cut off, let's say, for that there are a lot of farmers, they don't hand in requests for subsidies, because they are afraid of this. So you need to do the big investment, like this biogas plant, and in our scale it means an investment of approx 30 million euros. So then we need to know, it's fine for us to do this investment and to raise capital on the stock market, partly to cooperate with a company, but then we need to, this investment is for 15 to 20 years. Now, if we now change all the time everything, then we had a Green Deal, then not. Now we will have see political changes, etc. It is really hard. I think many of the farmers, they want to contribute, but they only need clarity and a fair price, a predictable price. And the same is on the subsidy part. We would not mind if this, anyway, for a big part we don't get subsidies now at the moment, but we would not mind if subsidies would be less. From a market perspective, it would be even good, because you stimulate way more innovation. There are many farms who cannot survive with subsidies, so normally those businesses should not exist from that perspective. Sounds harsh, I mean from a pure economic perspective. So that are the main challenges, but as I said, we are open to contribute to it. Also, we have our clear ESG strategy. Next year we will, our ESG report will be audited, so then we really need to commit to it and set goals afterwards as well every year. But it is, as I said, it needs to be a whole cooperation, and now everything is kind of put on the desk of the farmer, and then afterwards you just more or less need to see if you get sufficient return on your investments. But we are positive, and we want to grow in the segment on a sustainable way. We have a clear strategy by doubling our business by the end of 2027. And there's also a clear interest. We see the discussions that I have with pension funds, institutional investors, they really would like to invest in us when we go to the main market. There are several conditions. You need to have an ESG report. Now, we have. Now we implement IFRS standards, again also from a financial perspective to be sustainable and to be also more interested for foreign investors. And then we will do the upgrade to the main market. And our goal, now we have a market cap between 50-60 million euros. Our goal is to, with the current investment with the compost plant and the Straja farm and some internal optimization, to reach a market cap of approximately 100 million euros. And then when we are close to this number, we will do the upgrade to the main market. And this year we will use to decide our diversity. We want to diversify, not to have only one leg in milk. And this year we will decide in which way we would like to diversify. There are several things we look into, and of course we look also for synergies where we could use our own fertilizer to remain in this circular agriculture. Generally, we are positive, and especially also in Romania, it has a lot of potential. There's a lot of land. It is low density.
This is the good news.
Yes, no, there are many. Of course, sometimes we are. Predictability is not only a problem in Romania. Believe me, my home country is the winner probably. Yes, no, but
no. You have a government now.
Yeah.
You have to be happy.
No.
He's not so happy.
I know.
Let's say it
let's
like
make it a political
shortly.
But no, okay, I can say I'm ashamed of it. But on a side note, but we see this whole transition going on with the far right and these kind of things, and that's also not. It's also not good. Of course, also some parties now in this government, they fight for more rights for the agricultural sector, but we all know that just some decisions need to be taken. What you now will probably see in the Netherlands is that they just postpone certain things again for 4 years, or not, maybe it will fall after 2 years or collapse or whatsoever, but it is only postponing of some really necessary measurements, and it will only put farmers, impose them to higher risk, or when things get even worse or the nature get worse, bigger investment that needs to be done, or more farmers that need to be closed. So it is not a solution from my perspective. But as I said, in Romania there is also not the issue of nitrogen overload. So this, there's a shortage for the agricultural sector. So it's something completely different. And if you think of sustainability, like in the Netherlands, 95% of the pork that is produced is exported. Only 5% is for home consumption.
Yes, for
and a big part goes to Romania or China as well, but also and in the Netherlands they buy in the grain from Romania or from Ukraine or whatsoever. So there's if we talk about local food production, there is a lot of potential because Romania is importing on its food supply completely depending on other countries. So there are huge potential also for smaller farmers, but also necessities for larger farmers, because by the end of the day larger farmers can do the investments to have also a really sustainable food supply chain.
I would like to complete something, yes. Because in terms of opportunities, because I have some figures. A recent study of European Investment Bank revealed that the gap between what is financed in Romanian agriculture and the needs of the Romanian agriculture is 11 billion euro. And what was surprising for me that this gap has increased from the last study, which was in 2018 or 19, I think so, has increased. That it is an opportunity, but also I think that it is because the technology is increasing and the equipment become more expensive, but also the needs of the farmer. It is a good thing, but that because the farmer understand that they need to be more efficient and they need to invest. That's all that I want to add.
You say, yes, it's very good that you said about opportunities, because I want to move from challenges to opportunities. From your perspective, Sophie, what are the opportunities when we talk about agri-food or sustainable agriculture, also here in Romania, but also in Netherlands?
Yes, I see that the business climate in Romania is very positive. And I think it's due to, for example, the reforms that are taking place and the 25 billion of money put to that of resilience funding from the EU. So you see a lot of investments in infrastructure, in digitization, education, and those are very much very important conditions, I think, also to move forward in sustainability. Of course, we had the partly Schengen accession. Hopefully, the accession over land will follow soon. It will also bring, I think, for business new opportunities. The Eurozone entrance might be there in some years. Accession to the OECD, that will also be of help. I think since 2022 there are negotiations going on about the entry into the OECD, so there will be more knowledge and more studies, but also it will give more trust to business to invest, I think, in Romania. Peter already mentioned also some good conditions I see for Romania is that there's a lot of land. There are huge areas with relatively good soil. The prices, the average price of the land is quite low here compared to other European countries. Yeah, of course, I have the Netherlands in the back of my head, so
the comparison.
yes. So I also think from the perspective of Dutch investors, maybe. Well, the climate is modestly land climate. Of course, there are also changes due to climate change. And the geographical position is interesting because you have the market to the west, to the east, and also to the south. So I see a lot of very good conditions to do business here in Romania. Yes. Well, and then when it comes to the opportunities I see more from the Dutch side, well, it was slightly mentioned, but we are the second or third biggest exporter of agro-foods in the world with a small country and the production we have. And there's also a downside to it, of course. But we really have the potential also to export and invest as Dutch businesses in other countries. And we have also a renowned research and education and knowledge put to that we could also export. So I think given all these opportunities in Romania, I think for Netherlands and for Dutch parties it's quite interesting to look into Romania because there's very fertile ground to do business here. And you see already very good Dutch examples, so that might also be appealing, I think, to try and make this step, because Romania, of course, is not on top of mind of every Dutch company to start. But I think if we show more also, like with this webinar, where Romania stands also focusing on the sustainability developments and the market chances that are here, it could be very attractive also for more Dutch companies and farmers to make the step. And they're also pushed by, of course, the policy developments that are taking place in the Netherlands. Well, it's moving now a little bit more to support of farmers, and but in the end, it's still a small country, and there's more space, and I think also more space to do business in a country like Romania. So it might be interesting to show the good examples. I think the Netherlands is also, I guess, the biggest investor here in Romania. So it also shows that, it's a big step maybe, but you can have trust that you will get out of it good. We have a good example here on my right with the Agrar Group. Well, the advantage here is maybe also that at the Dutch embassy we have a dedicated team to agriculture. Myself and two colleagues.
And to sustainable in general.
Yes, we are here to support Dutch companies, and we look for opportunities, and we can do market studies and all kinds of ways to support also the businesses that are interested or would like to find a network here to have a market entry. And the biggest opportunities I see in general is, I think there's still very many chances in the primary production, also in horticulture. The processing part, we already discussed a bit on the shorter chain that might be interesting towards other countries in Europe. And this is a little bit personal, but I would really like to see if we could maybe find a way to produce more plant protein-based production here, and could have this shorter chain to the Netherlands. There are a lot of vegetarian products on the shelves, and now a lot of input is coming from South America, for example. So maybe this might also be an opportunity, I think, for Romania to farm more in peas and into other plant protein crops. Yeah, you already mentioned, of course, the food waste and the food waste reduction. I think there's also a lot to do in byproducts and putting value to that and to have more specialized products in this. So there's a lot to do. And it's just finding the opportunity as an individual business, I think, and also courage to take this step.
But Peter, which are your most important projects in digitalization?
We have almost now finalized the 2-year implementation of SAP, the ERP system, which is quite, from an agriculture perspective, it's really a stiff system, let's say, and we need flexibility because we are dependent on the weather, etc. But the main reason we chose for this system is with our future goals, to have those big institutional and pension funds in our company, and it gives more credibility because everything is, they can follow, etc. And the due diligence will be easier. So we hope that this adds some value to our company. But from an organizational point of view, it is quite challenging. As I said, in October, our first compost plant will become operational, and also to contribute to the priorities, it's very also we have benefited extremely from the Dutch embassy when entered the country, and still it's really easy to reach them. It's in an informal way, and they can help them with the whole team. So also thank you for that. So it's always a great help. And the biggest investment is now the Straatje project. We have obtained 9.2 million euros financing for this, with an own contribution of almost 21%. That is the biggest investment for the coming years. We will grow a little bit more also on the vegetable part, but we see if you have only a vegetable part to make that profitable, it's extremely difficult. We can also see it with some other companies that are also listed, but also in Romania in general. If you compare the results when you don't have animals and you have only vegetable to make, if you see over 10 years to make a profit out of it, it's really hard, and more or less the investment should be on the value increase of the land. And also, as I said, we also looked into produce a more vegetable crop. We are also open to that. We also, the coot farm that we built, so we build it in mind in a way that we could transform it in the future to a bio farm. But what we also see, for a part it was framed like this is our huge growth, so there was from 1 to 2%, and then it is in the media 100% growth. No, it's okay, it is correct from the perspective, you could say, but we saw also as soon as the Russian aggression started, it's the first thing people leave on the shelf. They cut on their food expensive. Also in Romania, I think on average a person, an individual spends over 40% of his income almost on food. In the Netherlands, okay, I don't know now after the inflation, but before the Ukraine war it was around 11%. Yeah. So that is easier from that perspective to make different choices in the Netherlands. But that would be good, but it is really difficult. First you have the drought. In our area we cannot irrigate, we are in a hilly area. We have the most rainfall in the Transylvania area, have more rainfall than in this area, but we cannot irrigate, etc. So there are really high risks to transfer to this, but from the Straatje project, I think we would like to build one other farm, and the next steps would be to diversify something. And for what we now look at, it will be something different. It could be in a different crop. No, it could be in vegetables or these kind of things. You need to look for a high demand, of course, and there is a high demand in Romania. I think on vegetables and fruits that are almost 90% is imported. So we look now in ways how we could contribute to that, and I think that will be the next project. I will visit some of those examples this year in. From ESG perspective, you could argue if this is good, but I go to Saudi Arabia and to Dubai, but to see some examples how they did certain things over there, and then I hope later this year that we could announce what our next steps are.
And Marius, what financial solutions are now on the market for farmers to become more sustainable?
Well, it is important that the banks adapt already their products to this new trend, to these new needs of the companies towards transition to sustainable practices. So also in ING we have many products that finance above mentioned activities. We are preferring from both perspective, from commercial perspective, but also from risk perspective. We prefer sustainable businesses because we know that we can deal for a long time with them. But we have some specific products. For example, we just launched a sustainability improvement loan, which is a loan, which is a term loan where the interest margin is linked with the progress on sustainability of the client. Mm-hmm. It is very transparent. We talk with the client. Even that loan is not addressed to a green asset or a green initiative. For example, they invest in a tractor or something like that, and the loan is for a long term, let's say more than 5 years. If the client would like to add this mechanism, we can offer them. What that means, we ask the client to have an ESG rating. Mm-hmm. We are working with one of the most reputable companies from the world in this way. And if the client improve next year when we have the review of the credit, if the client improve their rating, we can adjust the cost, we can adjust the margin, and in this way I think that we try to work with our clients to commit in the direction of sustainability. And this ESG rating could help them not only for us, for a bank, to adjust the interest margin, but also for their clients, because if their clients will see that they have an ESG rating, and this ESG rating is in a superior level, it is at the superior level. This could help them to have this partner. Other important features, let's say, is to finance equipment that are necessary for regenerative agriculture. Mm-hmm. This transition to regenerative agriculture has some quite high costs. And we decided to increase the period for these term loans. We can finance until 7 years or even more if the clients would like to buy equipment that they need for regenerative agriculture. And also but this is only in we studied the possibility to add working capital for this the farmer that adopt regenerative agriculture based on their CO2 certificates. If they are adhering to a voluntary scheme, and there are many big companies already that incentivize farmer with CO2 certificates, and if they have these certificates, if they are enrolled in such a program, we can offer a working capital. We can grant a working capital based on these certificates. This is a project that we are working for in these days. And last but not least, I think that it is very important to pay attention to the EU funds. EU funds, because all EU funds, or not all EU funds, but many EU funds are directed into sustainable practices, to finance sustainable practices, and the farmers should pay attention to them. And they would like to have these funds. We did research in order to see what is the perception of our customer about sustainability. I mean our small, not small, but entrepreneur, let's say entrepreneur companies, and 8% only plan to take a bank loan for implementing sustainable practice, but 39% would like to access EU funds, or expect 35% expect to receive some help from the national authorities. They don't want to
take action. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they don't want to take a loan from the bank for improve their sustainability. But I am optimistic because I saw that.
You still are.
Yes, I saw that all measures in EU funds have this type of grant dedicated to sustainable practices.
For Mega Image, Emi, how does Mega Image measure and in the same time report environmental impact? The ESG report, this is important to understand for those who are watching us.
The ESG report is something, let's put it the other way. What gets measured is also we can manage it, If we are not managing it, we cannot manage it. The ESG report and all of our actions and KPIs, target objectives, all of these names needs to be measured in order to know if we are on track or we are below expectation or we are doing something really amazing. So we do this ESG report annually, but we track our indicators monthly in order to see how we are doing with the CO2 emissions. And going back to Sophie, we also have an indicator which is called healthy sales, in which we are tracking how much plant-based products we are selling, because we want to have as much as possible plant-based products in our own brand assortment. This is also good for the environment, but is also good from a CO2 perspective, because we know that unfortunately plant-based products are emitting less CO2 emissions, but we are also looking, like I said in the beginning, we are looking at the food waste, because it's something that is done by us, but also by our suppliers and also with our clients. It's an entire loop, and we are trying to minimize the food waste as much as possible, because a lot of products, except the animal origin products, which has a legislative, let's say, road regarding how you need to be disposed. The rest of the products, usually we are sending to compost station, which are generating biogas, and we are trying to do our best to be as close to the nature in practice and to the environment as possible in 2024, taking into account also the habit of our clients, the structure of the products, and everything that we see around us.
Peter, what's your social and at the same time economic impact on local communities?
We are one of the biggest employers in the area. Anyway, in our area, it's really an agricultural area. There are some other businesses as well, like Lactalis, our main client. but also Transavia, which is one of the biggest poultry producers in Eastern Europe. I think it's leading in Eastern Europe, and some other companies. But so the agriculture is quite strong present in the Transylvania region. But for our communities, usually the farms are next to the village. What we always do is that we don't cross with our machines through the village, so we add different roads through the fields somehow to get it, so we don't disturb them. And we are a great employer. To give you an example, the Apold farm is next to the Gerbuha village. When the Apold farm was constructed, there were no roads of asphalt in that village. Now they have asphalt roads everywhere. They started to in many villages you have those, how you call it, for the water
yes.
Things. Now they closed it, they put lights around the roads, the flowers. It's a complete, you cannot recognize the village from what it was in the past, and you can clearly see also the other villages in the neighborhood where they don't have a farm. For that they ask us in Hunedwara, not in Hunedwara, in the Bergin of the Strasia farm that we're now constructing. They ask in that area already for years when we will finally start to invest, but people are leaving. So we are a great employer. We pick our employees up from home, so they don't need to. We have a van going around to get them to the farm, and we give them great opportunities to grow. One example is a person, Adina. She's part of our management team, and she studied here in Bucharest economics, and in that time she worked at a bank and she wanted to have a change. She started as a secretary at the NRCC. Now she is responsible, the zootechnic manager of all our farms, as a woman. And in the beginning, of course, it was quite a struggle in a more man-dominated society, especially in this field. But she is highly respected, and yes, we are really proud of that. Anyway, we have a really diverse team. For example, I'm responsible for the headquarters, and in my office, over 90% is women. So and also on our farms we have many women. We have for years we had a woman who was responsible for a big part of the agricultural part as well. There again were a lot of struggles with hierarchy and acceptance, but in the end we succeeded. Then we have said Maria Beatrice. We sponsor schools. We do a lot of cooperation also with universities like from Sibiu, from Cluj. Now we had a project with the University of Cluj, a university in Portugal, Denmark, and Saxion University for Applied Sciences. We had 60 students overall, and they did a project for us. So we really tried to be in the local communities, and we feel our responsibility, especially now when we become larger and larger. And as I said, we want to bring a contribution to a sustainable food supply, and that is all those investments, as I mentioned: solar, biogas, compost, technology. We do precision agriculture. We have now drones where we can pesticides or herbicides 10 hectares. You can imagine when you have 10,000 or 7,000 hectares in the group, and I don't know, you have a part of that parcel which is weak, you're not going to send your machinery kilometers for that, because it's not cost efficient. Now we can just, and you don't waste pesticide or herbicides, because you will then do more hectares. So we do what we can, and next to that we want to broaden our product portfolio to become a larger food supplier to Romania. So not only with milk, but as I said, currently we're analyzing in which direction we would go, as again in a sustainable way. And of course, next to that, we want also to be a success for all our stakeholders, and that are also our shareholders on the stock exchange. We are one of the fastest growing companies in Romania. Since our IPO, we have a growth of 166% of share price. We are only 2 years listed. Last year we had a share price growth of 74%, so we can easily compete with IT companies. I always enjoy that to say, because that's always what everyone thinks that is the best investment. But I think we are a great investment to have in your portfolio, to have in sustainability, in food, in predictability, in an industry where what has a future, where we have a growing world population. Also, milk consumption is growing; it's not declining. So we have as I said, we have a great responsibility with our scale, and we try to fulfill this. And in the coming years, of course, to to do the upgrade to the main market. Next to that, I think we are appreciated from that part as well. In the stock market, we are now voted twice for best investor relation strategy on the Aero market, and we are only 2 years listed, so we have 2 out of 2. And we are now nominated as well since last week for the best IR investor relations strategy for retail investors in all of Europe, in the EU, and we are now placed on the short list. And our competitor is Banca Santander, Banca Caixa, so that are huge multinationals. In our category, that we are on the short list with 5 companies. And this is the first time that a Romanian company is nominated for this. And we didn't do any commercial thing for this. And also it's the first time that we will participate in this event in June in London. And I'm extremely, as my responsibility, the stock exchange part, I'm extremely proud, not to be arrogant or something like this, but I'm extremely proud
to be said, yes.
As there's a lot of criticism on the agricultural sector.
True.
And I think we show that you can do investments in a sustainable way, even if we are large and with all the preconceptions that are spread out and that are not always fact-based. Some things are, and some things also need to be changed, and we try to contribute to that. And I think we show clearly the success also that investors see and the potential that investors see in our business.
Emi, what are your long-term objectives for Mega Image?
Long-term objectives. We are really focused on the CO2 emissions. So what I have said also previously, we are targeting for 2040 to be net zero regarding scope 1 and scope 2, exactly what we are emitting in the atmosphere through changing our cars. We will have only electric cars by 2040. All of the electricity which is going to be consumed by stores is going to be also 100% green. Our refrigerators will have coolants with almost zero CO2 footprint, and also we are not going to use natural gas, and we are going to switch from the natural gas also to green energy. If we are looking at scope 3 and our ambition to be net zero by 2050, I need to look at Peter and to all of our suppliers, because even now it seems almost impossible if you are going to drink milk to be CO2 neutral, or if you are going to eat whatever. You can even thought about, I don't know, carrots or potatoes or whatever other fruits. It seems somehow impossible, but I'm convinced that little by little, year by year, we are going to innovate, to find a new solution, and it's going to roll out like initially it's going to be like a small snowball, and year by year we are going to see that we are going to have a real Santa with 2050 showing that we are going to be there.
And Sophie, what role can you play in? Because as I said before in the beginning, you are the Counselor of Agriculture, Nature and Food Quality of the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Romania. What can you do? How can you help us?
Yes.
Or help them?
Yes.
Specifically.
Well, there are various levels of help. Of course, we have to contact with the national government. So if there might be any obstacles or needs from the business perspective, we could take that on the table. We also, I think, have a signaling role. We also see the developments from our perspective, and we could also inform our network from the developments we see and which might bring opportunities. I already mentioned the market information we have available. But we could do also studies. We organize networking events, also very important for partners to find each other. Well, NRCC is also very good at this, but of course we have another, maybe broader network. Yes, we organize events on current topics, just also to point out what might be upcoming new trends. So that's more or less, it's a mix of all kinds of activities you might think of. we might be planning the Farmers' Day again. It's something my predecessor organized for years. And I think it's also good that farmers and producers can exchange on their initiatives and activities, also to inspire each other. Well, maybe more concretely, one of the main topics we have been working on from the embassy part is on green education. We have a long-standing agreement between the ministries of agriculture, but also a partnership between Groenpact and the Center of Excellence on Agri-Education. That's the Romanian partner. Groenpact is a consortium of 24 institutions of all levels education in the Netherlands, and they work very closely together with business and government. And they look into future-proof curricula, ways to train trainers, so we thought it might be a very valuable relation to develop here in Romania, because we see that also here on the job market, it's quite hard to find people that are willing and attracted to farming.
The challenge, yes.
Yes, it's a challenge, and as you can see here, you can really play a very important role also in the transitions that are taking place, and we really need the hands and the heads, and the people that put the energy into the future food production as well. We need food on the table, so that's a very important topic for us, green education. Over the last years, we also invested a lot in horticulture, especially in the fruit chain. There was market entry for a consortium of Dutch companies, and we're still building upon that. Also on green cities, we had a project. Dutch landscapers and providers of plant material were introduced to the market here, and also here in Bucharest we had some nice green projects. We will continue upon that. And I already shared some vision, some part of my vision. I would like to also put my energy into the plant protein, the food waste. We had some months ago a very interesting talk also with Mega Image to see how we could be also maybe of support to include knowledge or business to the plans you have. We work together also with DE and Agrar on this green education. You have a lot of exchange with Dutch students as well, and we're very happy that they are offered also a practical training in the farm. So that's where you learn. So we play our, I think, modest role, but not an important role to help to build the stronger network for the business and to create the opportunities here.
And for the closing remarks, Peter, the objectives for the next 5 years in the Romanian market?
As I said, we want to double our business. In this case, we will not completely double our milk production, but I'm talking about our financials, and that is the investments that we now do. And that should have us succeed in 2028. And now that's the reason now, because we want to have, of course, we want to offer a constant and sustainable growth for all our stakeholders. Including our investors, is of course that we now define already strategy for after 2028, so that we can grow further. As I said, there we will diversify. I think there will be the growth. We look not only in Romania, also around, but we see a lot of still a lot of potential. As I said already, Romania doesn't have control over its own food supply, so we would like to play even a bigger role there, also on the education part. Anyway, it is good to emphasize, and it is again the advantage of a larger farm. We have also data analysts. There is way more data, so you will see that in the future a lot of things more the manual labor will be reduced. Let's say we also invest in our robots. We have we have two robots, which will reduce the 50% of manual labor, and that will go more and more. So we need also the bright minds from the universities to do data analysis, because there's way more data available, and then there's so much data that needs to be analyzed, etc. And there could come up further optimizations on a sustainable part, but also on the cost efficiency, etc. But to come back to the story of 5 years, yes, we will for sure have doubled from a financial perspective our business, and we will have we made a start with our diversification. And I think it's also good to see now, if you planning to invest in Romania, it is already easier than my father came in 2008. ING is a great example. They invest a lot on the agricultural market. Maggie Marsh is close connected to this as well, and also if you see always it's my favorite supermarket in Romania, because they have some Dutch products as well. So in their portfolio. No, but I mean, it is you have already a lot of partnerships and easy going. Also, the chamber can help with that in their network, so you can have where to sell your products whatsoever. So there is a really interesting climate, and you can. The growth rates, of course, the risks are also a little bit higher, and that can also be seen sometimes in the interest rate or whatsoever. But if you do a good job, you can be also extremely successful in a sustainable way, and also in a financial way.
Amy, what advice for consumers, generally speaking, to become and to be more sustainable for your clients, Mega Image clients?
Let's say we are the engine between the suppliers and the consumers. We need to mix the requirement of our clients with the possibilities of our suppliers. But before answering our question, I really like what Peter has said, and I will buy some stocks from an app, through the company, because it was really nice. Everything that I heard, it was really amazing, and I'm convinced that I'm going to invest in the company, and we will see nice results. Going back to your question, we are learning from the community what we need to do better, because each day we have different clients which are saying to us, look, I need this type of product, I need I don't know, more green apples, more red apples, I need pears, I need larger variety of milk products, and so on. We are learning from them and try to adapt our assortment based on their requirement. Also, we know what is happening around us, for example, in the farms, with the fruits and veggies suppliers, also with the different types of products that we have on our shelves. The ones which are less CO2 emitters, and the ones which are, let's say, not heavy polluters, because nothing is heavy polluters from the products, but of course they have a larger CO2 footprint, and we try to explain to our clients how they can, let's say, live better, enjoy the products, be healthy, and come back each day in order to buy what you need, because if you are going to produce less food waste, is something that I heard before, what we are going to leave on the table. It's good that we are not leaving anything on the table, because we are going to reduce the waste. So, like a final remark, let's say, at some point it was a show, orange is the new black. Somehow and everybody is using this type of comparison. And now we can say that sustainability is the new black. But in practice, sustainability is not like a trend, For example, this year I have a white shirt, next year I will have a green shirt or a blue shirt, and so on. It's not like a trend. It's something that we need to do, and it's something that we need to do each day only with small steps we are going to reach higher goals, because it is clear that what we heard from Sophie and also from Peter, if we are looking in the Netherlands, they try to divest from CO2 intensive industries or activities in order to have a better living, is something that everybody needs to do, not only at let's say a corporate level, but also as individuals, and the decision is only at us in order to have this type of behavior, you know.
Marius, why is it important for farmers or for entrepreneurs to adopt sustainable practices?
I will answer from bank perspective.
Of course,
because we had a lot of opinion
personal
also.
Perspective, yes.
Yes. What actually means a bank? A bank is a bank product. It is a mix between money and risk. We mix money and risk, and we have a product. Being a sustainable entrepreneur or a sustainable business, if they convince us they had already sustainable practices in place, or they want to go to this way, for us it is as a mitigant that the risk is reduced. In this way we can grant them with a more affordable loan, and this is one of the most important things. A sustainable business convince a bank that they are for a long time in business, and in this way we can do business together for a long time.
And Sophie, an advice or a call for NRCC audience?
Well, I think it was a very interesting discussion we had, and you can see that there's no one size fits all when we look into sustainable agriculture. So every size matters, and every diversity matters, and everybody can play its role and have its contribution, and I think that's very important. And I think maybe especially also for Romanian, it might be a challenge, but it's so important to have trust in your partners, to dare to share and to learn together, because only together you can go further. And I see that it's quite a challenge here to associate. It's also, of course, understandable when you look at the history, but I think it's one of the keys that's needed to make this sustainable development. And the other thing I would like to address again is the importance of the youth and the youngsters to appeal them and to inspire with very good practices we have. I also feel that I have a role here to show the Dutch technology and the innovations and well, the good things that are already happening, just to get them on board as well for the future. So that would be my last words.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here and for this discussion. And thank you for all the audience. I hope it was very interesting, and especially for the ones who are interested in agriculture.